trying to get to sleep, which is good. He got in a bit of a nap earlier too. I'd like to sit in my car and actually charge up my electronics, but it's kind of tough to do. His legs are in the way. Now, a lot of y'all, you say, well, maybe this person should help you do this or you do that. That's great. That's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? Well, I did. I did think of that. I'm not some fucking brain dead goddamn idiot who doesn't know nothing. Matter of fact, most of you are brain dead goddamn idiots that don't know nothing. You want to spout fucking ignorant goddamn ass wives' tales at me as if it's God's gift to fucking law and written in fucking stone by the Almighty himself. No, your ignorance is not ordained by God, dumbass. Through this, you get to see how people that I tried to turn in, and I was called mentally ill for trying to turn them in. You got to see how they did those things to many other people. But those many other people didn't have all of their money taken away over those false charges. Those people had actual support because those people's names weren't slandered the way that mine was. Those people were allowed to defend themselves. They were allowed to show what was going on. They had help getting those body cameras and that evidence. I didn't have help. I had the media painting me out to be some sort of a horrible fucking monster. And the Bollingers painting me out to be a horrible fucking monster. Meanwhile, I've got people from the media fucking with me, and I got people from the fucking Bollinger family fucking with me. They should have knocked this fucking shit off in Virginia in 2016. That's what should have fucking happened. But no, when you call somebody mentally ill, you take away all of their fucking rights. All of a sudden, you can prevent them from facing their accusers. All of a sudden, you can prevent them from turning in their fucking predators. All of a sudden, you can take away their fucking rights. All of a sudden, you can take away their fucking money. All of a sudden, you can assault the fuck out of them whenever the fuck you want. And you can steal their things because they don't have any money. And then I got these people who want to call themselves my friends. They see this shit happening to black people, and they get all sorts of pissed off. Then again, black people in this country are a bunch of fucking whiners compared to the homeless. They're a bunch of fucking whiners compared to the disabled. You tell us, the most victimized people in the country, that we have to take a backseat to your fucking racism? Fuck you. And then we're lied to everywhere we fucking go. There's a lot of shit that even Oregon lies about this shit. Ain't no place you're allowed to fucking camp. Like that cop here kept on pushing. Everything is already fucking owned. I know. Does that make it okay? Because you work for some fucking rich bitches who own everything? That makes it okay? No, that's not fucking okay. Wealth redistribution is an important part of human culture. This is how human culture waxes and wanes. When the difference between the rich and the poor becomes too great, the poor massacre the rich. But now we got too many bitches and too much technology, and we put the technology in the hands of them bitches, don't we? I'm not talking about women when I say bitches. I'm talking about soldiers. I can respect a veteran. I cannot respect a soldier. There is nothing in a soldier to respect. If you want to tell me that you fought for rights that I don't fucking have, keep in mind that I don't have those fucking rights. So obviously, you didn't. You really honestly think that Iraqis are the people who rob disabled and homeless people of their lives? No. Most of the time, we're victimized by our own families and law enforcement. Somebody who is called, quote unquote, mentally ill, they're at an extreme likelihood to be taken advantage of by their parents or other family members, and also murdered by their parents and other family members. When they're forced into homelessness because of victimization, you tell them they wanted, needed, chose, or deserved it. All of you have these biases. Just like all of you have these bias that a woman cannot be a predator. Well, Molly for certain is a goddamn predator. And then, of course, you guys, when I say predator, a lot of y'all want to jump and automatically pretend I'm talking about sexual predator. No, not always. There's physical predators. There's financial predators. And all of that is psychological too, every bit of it. When the cops prevent you from turning them in and then press false charges against you repeatedly, and then you are blackballed by law enforcement and prevented from turning your predators and law enforcement in, all because nobody gives a fuck. My dad never gave a shit. My mom never gave a shit. My sister did give a shit. At my grandma's funeral, not since. When my sister did finally come over to help me, she wasn't there to help me, she was there to get money. That's what she wanted. When she realized she would actually have to fucking do something for that money, it was different. My sister didn't earn that money, she took advantage of me. She knew exactly what she was doing. And I'm expected to just forgive her because drug addiction. All these people want to push this drug addiction thing on me. Oh, your sister's on drugs, dude. Fucking what did you expect? I didn't expect anything. I hoped. I always hope. I hoped that Teresa Orn could shut up and be sober. But she couldn't shut up and she couldn't be sober. And she wanted to call that help. I tried to help you, Sean. No, you didn't. You called me up fucking drunk and wouldn't shut the fuck up. Meanwhile, I needed actual help. And instead of getting help from people who were offering to help me how I needed, I wasted my time with you because I believe you actually gave a shit, Teresa Orn. Now you get to see how all these women, they get to drown their sorrows in drugs and alcohol, and it's always a man's fault. And when they do fucked up things to an innocent man because they're fucked up on drugs and alcohol, it's that innocent man's fault, isn't it? He's a bad person if he speaks up. He's a bad person if he objects to having all of his rights taken away and all of his belongings taken away. If he objects to being forced to go to drug dealers, drug addicts, and alcoholics for help. Y'all are horrible. And I'm tired of these people getting a hold of me to fucking pretend like they're gonna help. Don't fucking do it. Don't fucking do it. That is the wrong thing to do, and you're not gonna like the consequences, because you know what? I record everything. If you're gonna do fucking screwed up shit like that to disabled people, yeah, you don't get to fucking complain when it's posted up on the goddamn internet, which you did. You wanna pretend like I'm a bad person for telling the truth? You're a fucking idiot. You wanna pretend like you were my friend and the reason we ain't friends is because I told the truth? You're a fucking idiot. You already showed that we ain't friends when you allowed this shit to happen, when you looked the other way because I don't have a pretty face, because I ain't got tits and a twat. You don't like those words? You think they're vulgar? They are vulgar. I use vulgar words for a reason, because when I speak nicely, you don't fucking hear me. All these people who wanna, it's just entertainment to them. Now that Amy Williams lady wanted to claim she was gonna help me, seems to me she was only interested in helping me long enough to get my phone number. Well, now she's got my phone number, but she's, yep. What do I expect? See, in order for any of these agencies to actually give a shit, in order for any of them to actually take it seriously, you guys have to make the calls with me. With me. Now that situation where all these web wing nuts for years and years and years used the situation with Mandi Singer's son disappearing. Years and fucking years. They wanted to use that as an excuse to harm me, claiming I knew about Natalie disappearing before she disappeared and all this other fucking crazy shit. Now, Mandi Singer being a fucking druggy whore at the time, like, that's a fucked up situation. You don't like the word whore, it's offensive, I get it. But that's what she was. By her own definition, those were her exact words. She was on drugs and she was being sex trafficked. She said it that way too. She said it both ways. She said it the nice way and the vulgar way, but she said the same thing both times. She was admitting to the same thing both times, that it took her that long to speak up. Nearly 6 years it took her, or 5 years, sorry. 5 years it took her to actually speak up and say anything about that. Before that, she'd reached out a couple of times, but I'd reached out to her repeatedly. And then, of course, there were people that tried to reach out to her to find out what was going on, and she let me know that years afterwards. What those people were doing, well, I told true stories. And they were trying to get a hold of the people from those stories and get their stories. See, that's the problem with people not bothering to find out what was going on. Mandi Singer didn't even try to find out what was going on. Until I offered her money to take a look. When I offered her money to take a look, she was all about it. I gave her money so that she would have $300 for a computer and $100 for the first 5 hours of help. $20 an hour. That's what I promised people if they would actually help. Look at the fucking evidence and verify it. If you were a friend, I wouldn't have to fucking pay you. If you were a friend, I wouldn't have had to beg you for 5 fucking years to come forward. Now here's the thing. I don't hate Mandi for that. See, unlike you guys, when you guys want to tell me all this stuff about how I should forgive junkies, you know, I'm the one out here helping them while you guys are talking about it conceptually. It's just a concept to you. For me, it's reality. For me, Mandi Singer is somebody that lives and breathes, someone I care about. And yeah, she fucked up. Everybody does. You know, we don't become better people until we confess up to our mistakes. Mandi Singer, if she'd given a shit enough to speak up. See, here's the thing. I went to Mandi Singer about my issues with Natalie Bollinger before Natalie was killed. I went to Sean Sinclair as well. I needed help stopping the abuse. But I didn't matter. When they needed help, they reached out to me, and it wasn't well, you know how women are. You know how women are. You know how many times I hear that? Well, that's not how women are. That's how women are taught to be. Very different. Very, very different. When we coddle women, when we tell men that they just need to man up when they're abused, and we allow female predators to get away, they will do it again and again and again and again. Just like when you allow male predators to get away, they will do it again and again and again and again. Mandi Singer didn't understand because she was busy doing fucking drugs and doing some really fucked up things to get those drugs and going through an insane amount of abuse of her own and not just over those drugs. Now, when she cleaned up her life, that's what I had to wait for. I had to wait for Mandi Singer to get sober and off of the meth. I had to wait 5 years for her to get done. Finally have the power within herself to quit using methamphetamines. I had to wait 5 years for that, for her to tell the truth. When she could have told the truth at the very beginning and made all the difference in the world. Miss Peaches, I had to record her almost 2 years after I first went to her for help. I had to record her and put it on the fucking internet. For the same reason as the situation with Mandi Singer. Of course, I should have recorded every single situation with Miss Peaches. I had to save up my money to be able to get the electronic shit that I needed in order to be able to save that much evidence. And I needed a steady place with a fucking address, for God's sake. But no, that didn't matter. It didn't matter that I was trying to turn in these predators and I was cut off from it because of Natalie's death. That these predators got away with the things that they did to me. Predators like Ken Wilson and Letha Plunkett. Predators like Maverick Constantine, aka Jonathan Hickson. I had to deal with predators like Tim Beeson. I had to deal with people making fake profiles with my friends' names on them to harass me. When I got a hold of those friends, like, of course, Riley Johnson, when I got a hold of him to try to figure out what the fuck he was fucking going off about, he let me know it wasn't even his profile. The problem is that Riley Johnson Y'all might notice that there's a pattern here. Riley Johnson, he's an alcoholic. You normal people don't accept people who are different. You don't accept people who have Tourette syndrome. You don't accept people who are autistic. You claim that you do, but you don't treat us the way that you treat others. You don't pay us the amount that you pay others. When crimes are committed against us, you pretend like we must not know what abuse is. Like an autistic person must be too retarded to know what a fist is or what it feels like when it connects with your face. You guys pretend that I am mentally retarded because I am autistic. But then again, you get to hear from law enforcement officers and, of course, medical professionals saying the very same things that you guys want to pretend I'm crazy for saying. Well, if I'm crazy for saying it, so are the doctors, so are those officers. How much victimization are you putting my predators through? None. No, instead you're victimizing me for speaking up and for recording you out of desperation because you are a fucking coward. With Mandi Singer, there's some stuff that I have that's not public. I'd like to make everything that I have public. The only thing that keeps me from making it all public is these internet nut jobs who've spent 6 years trying to destroy my voice. 6 years trying to destroy the evidence. And 6 years of all these different agencies, because I have to go in alone, giving me that very same mentally ill treatment. Because, well, like I explained about Amy Williams, she's not the first person to ghost me like that. She probably won't be the last. Now also, those of you who don't understand my complaint about the bottles that I had to leave under a bush that got took, or the water bottles that still had water in them, 24 of them that I set underneath a bench so I could take Tom for a ride to where he needed to go. Yeah, it does piss me off that water got took. It is annoying to me that Tom keeps making this a pain in the ass for all of us by going back and dealing with Molly. But then again, I understand what he's doing, or at least what he's trying to do. I just don't like the fact that it's having such an impact on me. However, I knew it was going to. That's the thing about entering into something like this. A lot of you guys end up running into brick walls you did not expect. I've got enough experience to know what brick walls to expect. I've also got enough brains to know that just because I'm frustrated doesn't mean that it's that other person's fault. When it all that was almost a belch and almost a vomit. When it all comes down to it, let's say those 24 bottles of water, let's figure this out monetarily. Let's say those things cost 50 cents a bottle. That's like $12 for that. Is Tom's life worth $12? His life better be worth more than $12. All right, so let's look at the 10-cent fee. 24 pack, you get 10 cents each. That's $2.40, ain't it? Is Tom's life worth $2.40? It's worth a whole lot more than $2.40. Is Tom the one that took those bottles? No, he's not. Was it Tom's decision for me to clear stuff out of my vehicle and give him a ride? No, it wasn't. It was his decision in whether or not he accepted the ride. Also, because he did accept the ride, we were able to get some stuff done in a far more timely and efficient manner than if he's trying to fuck around with the buses while dealing with her. Mandi Singer did a lot of fucked up shit. A lot of it. I understand that her addictions played a heavy part in that. Unlike Teresa Orn, Mandi Singer not only admitted it, she spoke up about it. About her specific situation about that, but on YouTube it needs to be brought into court. That was the whole purpose of going over there with all that stuff. And of course, we both had to adjust our plans based on harassment by the Dual County Sheriff's Department, Leslie Snell. Them repeatedly abusing their powers, knowing I'm trying to turn them in, so they repeatedly press false charges on me and repeatedly break the law to prevent me from going to court, to prevent me from even having access to the evidence in most cases. See, that's the problem with being an at-risk adult. It don't matter what the fuck the laws say if you don't give a shit. When my little sister, between helping me out and getting fucked up on drugs, chose the drugs, yeah, that did not help me at all. I didn't need her to spend a week shuffling and re-fucking shuffling papers. They were already pretty well fucking organized. There's just going to be a few things out of place and some stuff that need to be grabbed. Now there's a bunch of stuff in there that said ATTN, Brenda Dickinson. It's got my name on it. There's a bunch of stuff with Brenda Dickinson's address, but my name on it. But my sister was pretty fucked up at that point in time, and making the connection wasn't exactly there. I needed help in person, and I needed people to speak out. And they were too cowardly to do so. How can you call yourself an advocate if you don't advocate? If you aren't willing to record the situations or speak up about the situations, if you're not willing to go in with that person to help them turn it in, how are you advocating, you pieces of shit? With Mandi Singer, it don't matter if we get along or not. It don't matter if she's mad at me because I called her out on being racist. And I'm going to tell you something. Will Smith smacking Chris Rock across the face ain't white people's fault. I'm looking at that situation. The victim is not white. And the assailant is not white. Of course, you also get to see how spoiled rich bitches can literally assault people on national television and just walk away. You guys want to tell me what a horrible thing it is that he can't go to that award show? He's been whatever from it. A goddamn award show? Motherfucker, I got loved ones out here fucking starving to death, freezing to death, and fucking dying of all sorts of shit that they didn't intend on putting in their bodies. I don't give a fucking goddamn about your fucking award ceremony, Will goddamn Smith. When it comes to Mandi Singer, you know what? She did what these people should have done to begin with. All of these people who were alcoholics and meth addicts. From Natalie Bollinger and Maddie Boa to Alicia Bollinger, on forward. They should have admitted that they didn't keep their word because of their drug addictions. At the beginning, they wouldn't have had to do that. All they needed to do is admit that I went to them for help. All the shit that they wanted to tell me over and over and over again. Oh, Sean, you're the most honest guy I know. Well, then fucking speak up. Don't fucking blow smoke up my ass. If you actually believe that to be true, you fucking speak up. If I'm the only person that you're gonna tell, that's not speaking up. If you're gonna play victim later on, that's not speaking up either, son. Mandi Singer is the only one through all of this who bothered to actually sit down with me and actually look at evidence. Actually fucking look at it. With me. With me. Which means that she got to see a lot of things you guys don't get to see. A lot of stuff that would get me Facebook or YouTube banned if I posted it up. And there's a whole lot more she didn't get to see because, well, most of the time that we were going to work on stuff, it got eaten up by the fact that she became her grandkids' pretty much sole babysitter. And then there's also the fact that working for DoorDash takes up a bit of time. And then there's the stuff that she had to go through for her apartment and trying to move into a different one at the time. Mandi Singer's goddamn plate was full, but you know what? No matter how full it is, it's never too full to tell the truth. And to tell it in a timely and efficient manner. Admitting that you fucked up is about the most important thing that I can think of when it comes to a friend or to someone who's offering to help. If they can't admit that they fuck up, they're not going to help you. Their shit doesn't stink, which means that they know better than you no matter what. No matter what you tell them or how true it is. No matter how much evidence you have, if they've just decided, then it don't matter. That's why we're supposed to have a justice system, so that all victims can turn in their predators. We've got a mandated reporter system because, well, we had a really long period of time there, like hundreds of years, where it was okay to rape and murder somebody who was disabled, call them mentally ill, and it's magically okay. So we made laws to make that illegal, but we didn't give those laws any teeth. Anyway, Tom hasn't done anything wrong, whereas a lot of other people did. What up?
Hello again. I think somebody hit these ones.
Yeah, I did earlier. I hit all of them.
How far up did you go?
All of them.
You missed the dumpster full out of the rallies.
Ah. Oh, you're getting the bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, I thought you were picking up snipes.
I did that too. I'm multitasking.
Yeah, I did have room for bottles, but I took them out of my vehicle to make room for somebody.
Good enough?
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to get him set up where he wants to go and needs to go in the next few days and free up some more room. Well, I think I'm going to get back to trying to find tobaccos. Be safe. Do what?
Tobacco?
Yeah.
Yeah, though. There we go.
Well, you're still speaking English. You didn't overamp. You must just be cold.
Yep.
For a second
I
there,
can't
the way
afford
you
to
were,
overamp.
right? Yeah, the way you were.
Go to my one if you want.
Oh no, I'm good. I have some really good ones over at my car over at Fred Meyer's. I just didn't bring them with me on my walk.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Most of the time, I just assume when people are shaking that they might overamped a bit, but
I'm always
when they're
shaking.
overamped, they're like their mouths do weird shit.
Yeah, usually become flitterty tooted.
Yep. And then there's the tweaker jig, or what's it called?
That's
The
what-
tweaker.
That thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tweaker dance or whatever. So I'm always glad when I don't see people that bad out here. But
Yeah.
there's always people that bad. Even in Chapel, Nebraska. Can't get away from it.
Yeah. I'm watching my little brother go down that road and dude, it's fucking killing him.
I got a lot of people that they're older siblings, and they did that stuff for entertainment or
Yeah, that's
for
the annoying
fun.
thing is I was his role model and did the same thing. But it's just I knew when it all quits. He won't listen to me for shit.
Yeah, I had 3 people in this town already tell me about younger siblings that didn't do drugs, and then when they went to jail, their siblings started doing drugs. So then when they got out of jail, their sibling was either full-fledged into them drugs or already dead. A lot of the issue too is people not giving a shit. Once you're out on the streets, nobody cares. And it's even worse because we got a lot of people out here who are sober. They don't do drugs, but they're treated like they're druggies. And then we got the druggies being treated like they're rapists. But just because you're on drugs don't make you a rapist either.
Right. And then functional users.
Yep, and where are all these drugs coming from? Are any of these drugs actually coming from homeless people? No, none of them are manufactured by homeless people. They might be distributed by some homeless people, but their distributors are in houses.
Yep. Honestly, all the base drug users now are, out of houses.
Yep. When I was in Colorado, we had a guy named Alaska, and he was like the biggest meth dealer there, but he had a house. So people kept going back to him. They'd talk about what an asshole he is, but between turning in their best friend and turning in their dealer, they're not turning in their dealer.
Fucking A.
For me, it's weird because I'm sober. I'm autistic though, and I have Tourette syndrome, so I have weird mannerisms. The only people that have really accepted me were tweakers and alcoholics, homeless folk.
Yeah, I have a minor case of ADD, attention deficit disorder, so I'll be talking about one thing and jump subjects and I won't realize I'm doing it half the time.
Yeah, I got ADHD, Tourette syndrome, OCD. I have Asperger's, which is high functioning autism, and post traumatic stress disorder. The cops and some of my other predators in my hometown, a few other places too, they do that whole saying you're schizophrenic and delusional, and then you don't get to face your accusers or show evidence in court. But I went and saw multiple doctors and people who are licensed, and they're like, yeah, dude, you're not schizophrenic. You're also not delusional. I don't know why they're telling us that you're schizophrenic and delusional. And I have to explain to them, well, because the guy who is in charge right now of all this is Scott DaCosta, and he's in deep shit if anybody listens to me. So yeah, he's pretty well entrenched in telling everybody I'm schizophrenic and delusional. The great thing about going to a professional is that, well, although a police officer is not qualified to diagnose you as schizophrenic, the professional in the mental health field that I went to is qualified to do so and said outright that no, he's not schizophrenic and he's not delusional. It's a matter of getting it into court. There you go.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, well, I am exhausted. I probably won't be able to get to sleep, but I think I'm going to head to my vehicle and try to pass out. My name's Sean, by the way.
I'm Joseph. Pleasure
Nice
to
to
meet
meet you,
you.
Joseph.
Hopefully you rest well.
Yes, sir. Be safe. Parts store. My check engine light keeps coming on. It's a 94 Honda and it's been ghettoized to the max. My battery wasn't working, so I had to take it out and replace it. But the battery that goes in it is twice the price of a battery twice its size. So I had to try to figure out how to fit a bigger battery inside of my little car. And the way I had to do that was to make room, which means I had to remove the air filter. And since I took off the air filter, I had to replace it with something. A sock is my air filter currently because the whole air intake assembly part that has the filter in it is removed. It's in the back of my vehicle. I was planning on trying to save up a little bit of money and get the right battery for it and use that other battery as a backup, but life is what happens when you're busy making plans. And that's the situation that happened with Mandi Singer. That's the situation that happened with a lot of people who should have come forward to begin with, who said that they would. I don't get to decide when they are and are not on drugs. A lot of them had good intentions. Their drug addictions got in the way. They were oxygen deprived, and the only thing that matters was what they had to say, their opinions. That's been the problem my entire life. I'm different, so I don't matter as much. You know, if I had just one woman in my life ever treat me as if I was worth a fuck, I probably wouldn't be as grossed out by sex as I am. But I see all these women who have told me about being molested, about how sex is gross, about how all these other people did these horrible things to them. And then I see these women throwing themselves into literally those same situations and doing it to themselves. Oh, well, you know, I didn't want to date this asshole, or I didn't want to date that asshole. Well, no, but you got extremely drunk and threw yourself at his drunk ass. You bumped uglies, and then you stuck around. Whether you were sober or drunk, you were still around. No, you didn't beat on yourself any more than I beat on myself. But when it comes to a relationship like that, you have the option of leaving. And that's the thing people don't want to pay attention to when it comes to calling someone a stalker. I drove 1,700 miles to get away from Natalie Bollinger and her family in 2016. That is for certainly not stalking. She moved to Colorado after I did. She slandered my name to my friends. My friends. Maddie Bowe was my friend. Until Natalie and Alicia Bollinger slandered my name. No, they slandered my name to all of you guys and to the police, claiming that I stalked them in Virginia. Maddie Bowe knew different, so they couldn't tell her that lie. The lie that they told her was that I threatened Natalie and her family. Really? I've been waiting 6 goddamn years for that evidence to pop up. I have been waiting for 6 years to see that fucking evidence. Where is it? It doesn't fucking exist. It doesn't exist. Just like these people claiming that I raped or molested Natalie. You know what? Natalie never once said either one of those things. She did say those things about Tim Beeson. She did say those things about her own father, Ted Bollinger. She did say those things about her own uncle, Troy Bollinger. But you see how it wasn't a civilized nothing. None of this was taken care of in court. What was done in courts, I should say. Because while they repeatedly forced me into situations and told me to do things that resulted in me not being able to turn them in, that's one of the things about trying to turn in rotten cops. That's one of the things about people who are brain dead from eating too much fat. Yeah, that would be Megan Misigatis. Now, why would I say such a thing? Well, that's because Megan Misigatis wanted to use the fact that she's fat as an excuse for not coming forward. Are you shitting me? You can't tell the truth because you're fat? I don't think you're quite understanding how this works. I get that you're a lard ass. I get that. But you're not talking out your... Oh, wait, yes, she did talk out her ass, didn't she? And then, of course, just like everybody else who gets busted fucking around, they want to bounce around the timeline. Holy shit, I love it when they do that. See, that's one of the things about recording everything. I got Megan Misigatis claiming things happened well after they actually happened. Like when I had all that money dumped on me. You know, that money would have done me some fucking good while I had a fucking apartment. But no, I didn't have any fucking help. And then, of course, when I literally had to break the fucking law to try to force someone to give a shit because none of these mandated reporters did their fucking job. Not Brenda Dickinson. Not Megan Misigatis. None of them. Now, in the state of Nebraska, you know, you can go through the calls that I made repeatedly to law enforcement, having to do it alone, being fucking treated like shit on those phone calls. But you know what? It didn't matter because nobody gave a fuck, and they still don't. Not one person through all of this actually gave a shit. Even Mandi Singer had to be paid to give a fuck. How stupid is that? Now, she got on and she was angry about the situation with Rose M. Kelly. Just like, well, Shauna Sinclair was pissed off about the situation with Rose M. Kelly. But neither one of them ever spoke up. Ever. To this day, neither one of them has made any effort to speak up in court. At least Mandi Singer made somewhat of an effort to speak out in public. Sort of. See, I didn't need pretty words from these fucking people, and I didn't need years of fucking abuse and bullshit. And yes, neglect is fucking abuse. When Sean Schwartz gets a hold of you and says, hey, I need you to fucking listen. It's fucking important. Maybe you should, I don't know, take the time to listen. Now, why didn't Mandi? Because she was on fucking drugs. It's not the abusive situation she was in that prevented it. It was her drug use that prevented it. For years.